Tomo.
What are these flashing like that? Okay. Okay.
Welcome everyone to the combined meeting. City Council, Monday, November 5th, 2018, preceded by our Mayor, Robert Odekirk.
And the prayer will be said by yourself.
And the prayer will be said by myself. Thanks, Jan. Step up. Rabbi Charles Ravibovich from the Joliet Jewish congregation could not make it tonight. I'm not sure why I got picked, other than I was one of many city council and mayor who was at the Friday night service for the individuals in Pittsburgh who had lost their life. So I'd like to start this with a moment of silence for those individuals. Thank you. God, thank you for everything you've given all of us. Thank you for the challenges that you give us. Thank you for the opportunities to do the right thing for the city of Joliet. Thank everyone who's here tonight who may not all agree with all of us, but we appreciate you being here. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm not shaking it. Do that enough.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation by Valerie Devine, Executive Director of the Rialto Square Theater.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor. My name is Jeff Pearson. I'm the current Vice President of the Rialto Board, and I just wanted to, before we start the presentation, thank you for your support in the past couple of years. As you'll see in the presentation, we've made considerable progress, and I know that you've really helped us out with your contributions. And I know we see a lot of you individually down there enjoying the successes of the Rialto and seeing other people that really enjoy it. I also have Mr. Jim Rolfe with us with the City Center Partnership. He has a few words to say.
Come on down.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, guests, and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of downtown Joliet and the Rialto Square Theater. It's been a kind of a bumpy road, so to speak, on some fronts with the Rialto. I would compliment the City Council for putting their foot down about 18 to 24 months ago, but I would also compliment the board of the Rialto, Venue Works, and Val Devine for the work that has been done at the Rialto since that foot was dropped, so to speak. I think it has been very positive for downtown, and certainly for the entire region, because the guests at the Rialto come from all over. It's no question that it is and continues to be the jewel of Joliet. Tarnished in the past, perhaps, but polished again and poised for a bright future. I think it's important to recognize that bright future, just like we have for City Center, recognize that there are a lot of positive things going on in downtown. I'm here to ask you to recommit to that effort. We've been there strong. A lot of good things have happened. We've got some important projects ahead of us, and collectively we need to work on those. I've said many times that Joliet is the county seat of Will County. In my mind, that makes us the capital city. We need to step it up and work to help make the city what it has been in the past and what it will be in the future. We've been through the bumpy roads, we can fix those roads. But I would ask you to think about what we need to do. We put together a plan in 2015 for downtown Joliet. A lot's been accomplished on that plan, and thank you for your efforts in that regard. A lot more needs to be done, and we'll be working on that at City Center Partnership. And part of that effort needs to be to continue to support and enhance the Rialto Theater. And so with that, I would thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'd be pleased to come back after City Center Partnership works through its plan and answer some questions to the council if that's something that you would entertain or like to entertain.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor and the City Council. Oh, I'm multitasking. God save us. Okay. I know that along with the WCMEA, you do receive monthly financials and my quarterly recap, so some of the information contained in this PowerPoint may be redundant, but a good reminder nonetheless. FY 2018 income recognizes a 68% growth from budget versus actual. In line with that is an approximate 49% increase in expenses. FY 2019 Q1 indicates a greater than budgeted loss attributable to the Rialto Square 2 numbers. As you can see, sponsorship and development has recognized $182,650 in revenue, partially due to the summer movie series, star memberships, and what we lovingly call the Seinfeld effect. This year we've added naming rights sponsors in addition to show sponsors. As you look at the programming highlights, it's important to remember that each show has its own unique deal structure. For example, Jerry Seinfeld was a rental, and therefore, once actual venue expenses, rent, labor, etc., were paid, the rest went to him. Good news is that the 1,957 people that attended were still in our downtown and hopefully eating in our restaurants, buying gas at our gas stations, and maybe even trying their luck at the casino. We have continued to expand our community outreach with our participation in numerous local events. Our own staff has volunteered for Taste of Joliet, Fiesta en La Calle, and the Joliet Prison Cleanup. We are encouraged by the complimentary comments of those longtime and new patrons to the venue. We love to see the response of our guests as they enter the Esplanade and Rotunda for their first time as they marvel at the beauty of our wonderful theater. And once again, we thank you for your support of the Rialto. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. Can we have a copy of this? Because you went so fast we couldn't read all the comments.
I'm sorry. Yes, I can make sure Krista will assist me in getting you a copy, or I can send it to you, either which one.
I think you should read at least one of them.
One of the comments? Oh, sure. Always enjoy visiting the Rialto Theater. Shows are always great. Everyone there is friendly. We had great seats in the balcony this time. A beautiful place to visit. We look forward to the upcoming events. We have seen many wonderful shows over the year.
Thanks. That's just one of many.
That's one. Thank you. Anyone else?
Just a comment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Well, I just want to thank you and your staff and the board of directors. You guys have done an amazing job in rebuilding and reformation and coming back. I see you on a great path, and so we just want you to keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you want?
Before we move on to the next item, let's do roll call. Mayor Overkirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Councilman Girl called, he has a death in the family, he's not gonna be able to attend tonight.
Councilman Hug. Absent. Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman. Here. Councilman Turk.
Here.
Next is the introduction of John Wilson, Vice President of Sales Marketing with Joliet Slammers.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, and thank you for having me here. I'll be brief, real quick, but just tell you a little bit about myself. I've been fortunate to work in the NBA, the Minnesota Timberwolves, NFL for the Buccaneers, and most recently, general manager of the Southern Illinois Miners baseball team. I've also worked with Fenway Sports Group and their AAA team, Pawtucket. And it seems like I never get to go to a place that's selling out every game or winning championships every year. So I know we are coming off a championship season, so I can't guarantee you that we'll win a championship again next season. Those things don't happen every year, unfortunately. But I will tell you, we will be able to improve our customer service. We will be able to improve our attendance. We will have more sponsors in the stadium. We're already in process making the customer service area improved by adding a new ticketing system. We'll be adding a new CRM that will also help us with our client relations better. We're going to change up our promotions, do more family-oriented things that'll be more cost-effective and be affordable for all families. And we want to do more community nights involve military, firefighters, police. So we're excited. We will not get outworked. That I can guarantee you. I will give every councilman and the mayor, some of you I've already met with, I'll give you my business card, has my cell phone number on there. Anytime you need something, call me. If you have a complaint from someone in your district or someone just wanting a suggestion, you can give them my cell and I'll directly take care of them and make sure they get taken care of. But thank you, everybody's been very welcoming to me. One thing they lied to me about, they said it'd be warm year round up here. When I find out that that's not true. But I'm excited to get started, and we're excited to get going. You guys made a 5-year investment for us, and now it's time for us to return on that investment for you guys. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Welcome, Mickey.
Next is a proclamation honoring the Joliet Junior College 93-94 NJCAA Men's Division II Basketball National Champions on their 25th anniversary.
Okay, I was excited. Where's the team?
I was hoping to see the team as well.
Thursday, Fridays.
All right.
Okay. All right. Proclamation, whereas on March 19th, 1994, the Joliet Junior College men's basketball team won the JCAA Men's Division II Basketball National Championship. This is the first national basketball championship in the school's history. On March 19th, 1994, the men's basketball team defeated Owens, Ohio Tech College 85-80 in the national championship game. The success of the 93-94 men's basketball team is due to a great effort put forth by the team members and coaches who committed themselves to producing their best for JJC. This upcoming weekend is a celebration of the 25th anniversary of this tremendous achievement. Whereas the winning team roster consisted of 11 outstanding student athletes, and I'm going to do the best I can with some of these names. I was practicing a little bit. Greg Bruns, Bobby Krahulik, Ivan Colbert, Eric Cooper, Aaron Schramm, Paul Nundas, Mark Bass, Chris Fisher, Kelly Lynch, Paul Kabako, close enough? Kobiako, okay. And Harris Yanovic? Vucinovic, okay. There's no H there. Along with sports information director Dave Parker, that was easy, the head coach Pat Klinger, and assistant coaches John Jones and David Dwyer. Now therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby congratulate the 93-94 Joliet Junior College men's basketball team on their 25th anniversary. And it's signed Mayor Bob Odekirk and it's dated for tomorrow, November 5th. But Or actually, that's today, isn't it? I'm sorry. We're combining everything, and I'm confused. So thank you very much. I'd like to say a few words and congratulations.
Thank you to Don Dickinson for his help, and thanks everybody for recognizing this. Somebody mentioned everybody's not here. They're coming from literally all over the country and the world. So a lot of people will be in as the week goes on. Appreciate the city, the Herald News, and WJOL, and everybody in town for this. It was a great achievement, and appreciate the notoriety. Thank you so much.
Did they want a picture with you? You guys want a picture? Yeah, sure.
I got it.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
Next is a proclamation honoring Including You Incorporated.
Good to see ya. This is exciting for me. I want you all to know that. Because what you all did for this city in bringing back your participation and your service has just been amazing. Ms. Alexander, just thank you for what you do in this city in terms of keeping us informed. Thank you so much. Okay. Now I have the proclamation. Whereas the members of Including You, Inc. are celebrating their first year providing monetary charitable service to the city of Joliet and to the county of Will public service organizations. Whereas Including You was established in the city of Joliet on February 4th, 2017 by Julia Alexander for the purpose of collaborating in partnership with the city of Joliet to promote and enhance more diverse and inclusive community that serves its residents. I just love that. Whereas Including You, Inc. organization is dedicated to educating its members and the general public about the history of Including You, Inc. and what it stands for. Whereas the members of Including You, Inc. are dedicated, hard-working, caring individuals with a passion to give back to its city and their communities. Amen, amen. Whereas the vision of Including You is to empower, inspire, educate, and to enhance the self-esteem of a more spirited Joliet community through monetary charitable support. Now I, therefore, Robert Odekirk, the mayor of the city of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the city council, do hereby congratulate Including You, Inc. on their first year providing monetary charitable services to the city of Joliet. And as one of those charitable services, I want to bow down and say thank you all for your support. This is awesome. Thank you. All right.
Do I get to talk now?
Yep.
Do I have about an hour? Okay,
Pull it down.
Mr. Mayor.
Can you lower the mic, please? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and members, friends, we are deeply honored to receive this award, this momentous award.
If you would look behind me at the group of hardworking, dedicated, devoted individuals back here. However, none of this could have happened without our city of community, without the organizations that's within our community. The support from the organizations in our community was overwhelming. Starting with, I'm just going to talk about everyone was key supporters. Everyone that played a part in this were key supporters, but we also have some turnkey supporters as well. And I'm going to start off with including you, turnkey supporters. Number one, this person gave the top dollar within our organization. This person listened to me for 399 days out of the year. He was my personal Uber. He was my dump on when I was angry, dump on when I was happy, and he stood by us. He stood by me, and he is none other than my husband, Kenneth Alexander. He was also... Where are you, honey? He stays in the background, but he's just been phenomenal through all of this because without him, I couldn't have done it. Our first big sponsor was KMC Business and Communication, none other than Ms. Karen Miguel Ralph. She stepped up to the plate. She says, "I'll give you money." I said, "I'll take it." But not only has she given the money, she has been there phenomenally. She is our secretary. She's drove up to Chicago with me a couple of times. We had to go to Chicago and handle business. She went up there with me, and everything. She's always saying, "What can I do? What can I do?" So just to give you an idea of the type of people that is on this organization. And then our third biggest was Jack Anderson, State Farm Insurance person. He was just phenomenal. With Mary Jaworski, she guided us and she led us through all of this. And she says, "Well, Julia, come to New Orleans and you guys work New Orleans so you can understand how it worked." Jack Anderson was one of the ones that went to New Orleans and worked. And I tell you, Clay, it takes Clay to tell you how phenomenal this man was. He worked there from he worked from sun up to sundown. He was very polite. Am I not?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, I mean, just for him to represent our organization like that, that is overwhelming. That's what I want our organization to represent, the kindness that we can display to everyone, because it takes kindness. You can give me money, but if you're unkind with giving it to me, I don't think it means that much. But don't stop giving me money. And I'm going to try to move quickly because I know there's a lot of things. So we're going to move on to the chamber. Jesus, I can't talk enough about the chamber and Mary Jaworski, Clay Johnson, Kelly, which I can't speak enough. I call them, you guys know about the Wright brothers and the airplane that they invented, and they tried to get it off the ground and they had several crashes. Well, I call them my Wright people. And with this airplane, they was the wings, they was the wind beneath the wings, and I tell you, when this plane took off, it never crashed. And we soared through the air with this project, and we couldn't have done it without you all, Clay and Mary and Kelly at the Joliet Chamber of Commerce. And then we're going to go to the Rio Grande. Well, of course, Rio Grande took us on as our fiduciary agent, and they worked very, very hard with us. Sean, which is the director of Rio Grande Medical Clinic, as well as Jackie, her assistant, and Yvette. Is she here, Yvette? Jackie is here. Is Yvette here? Okay, and Yvette, and not to even mention your lawyer, Matt. They all worked with our lawyer, which is Nick Jaworski, and they did an awesome job making sure that we were legal in everything that we did. We could not thank you enough, because without Rio Grande Medical Clinic, we would have not been there at all. So I thank you very much, Sean, and your staff for all that you guys have done for us to get us to the point that we're at today. So thank you, and God bless you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to try to make it quick. Okay, and so then we're going to move on. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Redeemed Connection Connections Ministry. Redeemed Connections Ministry is another one of the recipients that we had, and they came out, they rendered their services to us sun up and sun down. Those young men, they came, they helped people set up, and they did all those wonderful things. And Miss Mary, you would be pleased to know that Redeemed Connections Ministry helped the Girl Scouts of America. They were there, and that was the organization that your law office sponsored, our Kids Zone organization. You will be happy to know that through your sponsorship from your law office, that we had 25 girls join up for Girl Scouts that night. So they sent us a letter thanking us for the 25 young ladies that they had to sign up for the from our Kids Zone. So I am very proud of that, because that's what our organization is all about. It's getting resources and helping people. And I am going to quickly go through some thank you from some awesome people. I want to thank you on the panel, you council, on the panel, Donna Dickerson, Krista. When I came to your office, the service that your office rendered to me with smiles, and they were just patient with me. There was a lot of paperwork that I had to fill out, and I want to thank you for your leadership in your office. It was phenomenal. So thank you so very much for your office and your staff. And Don, thank you. You were there supporting us, and I just thank you so much, as well as you, Councilwoman Gavin, and Terry Morris. I know that you were out on weddings, but you won't be going to weddings next year. No, I know you were out on weddings, but I thank you for your support. You're my councilman in District 5. We thank you so much for your support, the support of you and your wife and your family, and what you gave us. And each and every one of you, Mike Turk, Larry Hug, he's not here, and each and every one of you that supported us in one way or another, we really, really appreciate that. And not to say our biggest sponsor, Mr. Terry DRC. Mr. Terry DRC and Mr. Ralph Bias. Ralph Bias, are you here? Mr. Ralph Bias. Mr. Terry DRC, we know his GMC. Mr. Ralph Bias is one of the presidents of People's Bank. These young men, they both came to our meetings. They sat in on our board meetings. They gave their input, and they helped us a lot, and they sponsored us, and we want to thank them so very, very much. And there are so many others. I know that I'm running short of time. St. Joe's Medical Center, St. Joe's Nurses Academy, First Midwest Bank, let me turn it over. First Midwest Bank, Times Weekly newspaper, WWHN Radio, and Jenny Garcia. Jenny, if you're back there, I want to thank you so much. Jenny is she puts out the public announcements for the city of Joliet, and she's the one that posted us at the train station. And so she was going on vacation, and I called her at the last minute, and she took the time to do that. So thank you, Jenny, if you're back there. And Kathy Sperley. Kathy Sperley is the one that you guys, when you see Up to Date with Bob Odeker, Kathy is the one that places those announcements there. So thank you, Kathy. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Robert Hernandez. Robert Hernandez, are you in the house?
Right here.
Where are you? Bob Hernandez, he's just awesome. He came down, he did videos, he was a part of us getting our sponsorship from Joliet Housing, and he's just been phenomenal through all of this, supporting us. So thank you so much, Robert, for that. The Macaroni Kids, WJOL, Natalie Coleman, Joliet Community Television Station, of course, Be Informed. So once again, and the hookup of Black women, Debbie, are you here? Debbie Upshaw? Okay, Debbie Upshaw, and just everyone that gave, we really appreciate it. So once again, we humbly accept this honor coming from you all, and our goal is to continue to bring help to those that need it in our community. So thank you. I hope I didn't leave anyone out.
Next is mayoral appointments. None this evening. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following changes? Remove Council Memo 574-18, which is an awarded contract for the 2018-2019 snow removal for the downtown city center area and the commuter lot area, and remove Council Memo 580-18, awarded contract for elevator maintenance for 2019 through 2021. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with the changes?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrick?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is John Giacomo regarding Council Memo 566-18.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is John DeTomo, and I'm an attorney representing Innovative Staffing LLC, which is an applicant before this body for a special use permit. First off, I'd just like to thank the planning staff for the opportunity they afforded my client to submit some supplemental information that was responsive to a number of the questions and concerns that were raised at the last hearing. And also like to thank the planning staff for the additional time. It appears a significant amount of time they spent researching these issues and preparing a memo for all of you to review related to not just the application filed by my client, but I understand there's another staffing agency applicant before this body. I just wanted to very quickly highlight a few points, and I think the October 26, 2018 memo that the planning staff prepared and all of you have before you sort of puts the issue in context, at least in my view. One of the major points in that memo is that the ordinance that was implemented back in 2001 requiring a special use permit for staffing agencies arose out of concern relating to land use issues, specifically issues of loitering, parking, and noise, things of that nature. And I would emphasize that none of those issues have been raised as a concern as it relates to, frankly, either one of the staffing agency applicants that's before this body. As we've set forth in our application, there is sufficient parking at the location under proposal. It fits into the general business district where this facility is going to be located. And most importantly, I would emphasize, I think, is that we are not what a so-called day labor staffing agency. I think that's where some of the concern originates from this body and perhaps others, given their experience with some of these other day labor staffing agencies where folks come in, maybe they're picked up in a car, driven somewhere, they work for 2 or 3 hours and they come back and they're hanging around looking for their next job. That's not what my client does. I would describe Innovative Staffing as a professional staffing and recruitment agency. They're going to schedule appointments and meet with 1 or 2 people at a time. They're going to place people in long-term, full-time positions. And I would emphasize, and we've set this forth in some of our materials we submitted, to date already my client has placed 147, at least 147 citizens of the city of Joliet in full-time positions. And a number of those have gone on to pass the probationary period and become permanent employees of these clients of my client, Innovative Staffing. So I think granting the application serves the public good. It's going to continue to place citizens of Joliet in employment positions, which obviously benefits the citizens of the city of Joliet. My client is going to occupy and otherwise make productive use, I would argue, of an otherwise vacant piece of property. And again, I would emphasize there's been no detrimental effects to the community that's been identified as an issue or a concern as it relates to my client's application. I have both owners of my client, Mr. Christopher Chudy and Jasmine Ramirez, present. They're happy to answer any additional questions that might come up, and I'm happy to answer any to the best of my ability as well.
Questions?
Yeah, if I may.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Just one quick question for you. I thought I understood you to say they placed 147 people.
That's correct.
in a position, how many of that 147 to date is a full-time hire?
My understanding is they're all full-time positions. After a probationary period, either 90 days or 720 hours, they have the ability to graduate into a permanent position. But my understanding, and I stand corrected if my client tells me something different, they are all full-time positions.
Because they're full-time. But how many past that probationary period has gotten through that? Does anybody have that?
I would have to confer with my client on that.
Sure. Okay, I think she's coming up.
This is Jasmine Ramirez, one of the co-owners of Innovative Staff.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine from Innovative Staffing, and to answer your question, so far we have around 23 people who have been hired through the actual company, and 147 have been placed to long-term assignments and 10 to higher positions.
Okay. Could you ask one other question?
Sure, of course.
Okay. What type of benefits are they getting?
They are with us, with Innovative Staffing, we provide health insurance. After 90 days of being employed with us, for those who are placed in long-term assignment positions, they do qualify for health insurance. We unfortunately don't provide dental and vision, however, health insurance is provided, and we cover 80% of the cost for the employee. We also offer holidays and vacation pay. Once you complete a whole year with Innovative Staffing, we pay you a whole week of vacation. As well, we pay you the 4 main holidays that we think are very special throughout the year, which is Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Okay. And so of those people that are getting the health insurance that qualifies for that, what would you say your estimate, if you I don't want to put you on the spot, just give me hard numbers, but out of the 23 people that are hired, okay, so everybody in that has...
That will be the 23 are currently hired through the actual company, so therefore the company offers the benefits, correct, for 1K. We offer the health insurance for the long-term assignment positions, so people that are going to be placed to companies who are unfortunately don't have the ability to hire them, but they are representing Innovative Staffing and they are performing a job every single day as long as they show up on time, they do what they follow safety guidelines, they are on time to their assignments, and they are performing the job that is being assigned to them.
And what is that average salary?
All depends on the compensation pay of the company. We normally manage positions from $11 up until $23, $24 an hour for the employee.
Okay.
So I will.
And after your service fees, I know you get a service fee or whatever that is.
Yes, so that will be the actual pay rate to the employee. The bill rate is different.
All right, gotcha. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
No, I have a question here.
Yes.
How many full-time employees do you have right now?
With place with the companies?
You had 147. You hired 23.
Just for the Joliet area.
How many full-time employees with benefits do you have now?
I have roughly around like 60 employees.
60?
60.
And they all have benefits?
The ones that are signed up for the insurance, yes. The ones who decline the insurance, then no. So I will have to give you a number.
Full-time employee paid?
It all depends by the company. So I can tell you that I probably have over 60 people who are long-term assignments who are getting paid $14 or $15, $16 an hour. Or I can tell you that we have over 30 to 40 employees who are getting paid $18 and $19 an hour.
And out of that, do you take out money for their health insurance?
Yes.
How much do you take out of that salary?
We covered 70%. So if they only sign up for the health insurance for themselves, it's only cost them around $70 a month. So we pay 70%. So the other, it's being deducted by the employee.
So if they're making $11 an hour, you're taking $70 a month for their
No, we pay 70% of the cost of insurance.
So what's their cost then?
So it could be $12 a week per employee. That's the $12 that we deduct per employee a week.
Per week.
And we cover the rest.
So if they're making $11 per hour, you're still taking $12 out a week for their insurance, which doesn't leave them very much. That's not even minimum wage.
Minimum wage in the state of Illinois, if I'm not mistaken, is still $8.25. The city of Chicago is $12 an hour, and the Cook County is $10 an hour.
No, it doesn't mean you have to go with the state. You could do your own thing. Sorry, I'm done.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No.
I just had a question. The attorney, I'm sorry, your name just escaped me now. John. Yeah, you had mentioned that the Innovative doesn't have any warehouse clients. You didn't use the word warehouse. You just said. I guess my question is, do you all have any warehouse clients?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else present that would like to speak on the agenda item?
Good evening, Joliet City Council. My name is Roberto Jesus Clack, the Associate Director of Warehouse Workers for Justice. I'm here as a director, but I'm also a native of Joliet and went to high school down the street. Go Steelman. First, I'd like to start by saying the reason we're here today and are even considering this vote on allowing 2 more staffing agencies into this community is because it's being broadly recognized across different spectrums of Will County, including on this council and the Zoning Board of Appeals, that there's a problem at the warehouses. There's a problem with staffing agencies. We didn't bring this up. Other people brought this particular issue up. You know, specifically, there's a growing concern around labor standards for the warehouses. For 10 years, Warehouse Workers for Justice have dedicated ourselves to organizing workers to stand up to some of these bad employers. We've won back over $10 million in stolen wages. We've sued bad actors in the temp and warehouse industry for things like discrimination. But we've also worked on passing policy solutions at the state level with some of our local friends like Senator Pat McGuire and Representative Larry Walsh, who supported our bill, the Responsible Job Creation Act. You know, that was specifically designed to uplift and deal with some of the issues created by the warehouse district in Will County. And today we're going to ask you to vote no on the special use permit being submitted by 2 staffing agencies. What we'll hear from the staffing agencies and their allies, there's no problem. We all know there's a problem. That's why this keeps coming back up. There's constituents complaining. There's a big problem. You know, that they'll pay $10 to $11 an hour. That's not family supporting work. You know, why should we allow these staffing agencies to continue to be proliferated if that's all they're paying? And that they're transitioning to permanent jobs. We just heard the statistics from the staffing agencies themselves, 23 out of 147. I mean, that's less than 20% placement into a permanent position. You know, and, you know, really, you know, and then there's, you know, this doesn't have anything to do with like loitering or noise or anything. Have any of you been around a staffing agency in Joliet? I mean, there's people waiting outside all the time. There's vans. They're required to have vans now to take people back and forth to work. People are doing multiple shifts, 2nd and 3rd shift. There's going to be people coming in and out of there. So obviously, that also falls and is related to the labor issue. But there's a useful word we can use to send a message to both the warehouses and the staffing agencies. It's no more. We want you to change, and this is when it happens. It's going to happen today. You know, let's not go for the okie doke and, you know, give the staffing agencies and warehouses a free pass to bring in more low-wage, non-permanent jobs into our community. Let's put the brakes on now. Let's review what's going on, and let's use our city council as a means to bring good paying, stable jobs to Joliet and the surrounding communities. We have the power, we have the vote, and we need the city council to look out what's for the best interests of the community members who help distribute over $1 trillion in this very community. These businesses depend on our workforce, the warehouses. They generate huge profits. You know, we just want our fair share of, you know, some of the richest companies in the world that are doing business here. You know, and so one thing that, you know, the Community for Economic Development and Warehouse Workers for Justice agreed on is $15 at Amazon. Great, you know, we're happy about that. It's a step forward, you know, but I want to argue it was, you know, both Jeff Bezos stepping up and taking leadership as a business owner, but it was also political leadership saying, we have a problem with your business, we're going to publicly criticize your business, and we're going to propose laws to hold you accountable, and we're always not going to be nice to the business element. In other words, we both need accountability and leadership from our elected officials to create better condition. We're asking the City Council today to send a message to say we already all know that the situation with staffing agencies is broken, to say our workers need permanent jobs in a better shape, and that businesses in our community who make billions can do more for both the workers and the community in which we live. We can start today by saying no more staffing agencies, yes to full-time work and permanent jobs. If there's a problem with meeting labor demands, we have a solution. Pay higher wages, pay benefits.
You have 5 minutes to stay. The ordinance is 4 minutes.
Thank you. So I apologize, but you know, please say no today. We can create a solution. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry I went over.
It's okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Hi, good evening. My name is Ann Baskerville. I'm the conservation organizer with the Illinois Sierra Club. We also would ask you to vote no on these staffing agencies. And I have some points, but I just wanted to, the medical, $13 a week at 30%. You know, everybody that has benefits, it's the devil's in the details, so I know it's probably not time for this tonight, but I would want to know more details on exactly what level of benefits are provided and all those details about health insurance that are very important. First of all, at the last meeting, the applicant said that not all staffing agencies should be painted with the same brush. And I agree with that. That makes sense to me. Not every business in one category is the same, but the model of staffing agencies, the warehouses use this because it's cheaper than hiring people directly. For example, Walmart. Walmart would not be using staffing agencies if it wasn't cheaper for them. And considering that Walmart has the largest warehouse in North America, just down Route 66 in Elwood, I believe those should be full-time, permanent jobs. And I think that also goes directly to the connection with the environment. What companies have done is we've replaced our local economy with a global economy. And how did this fossil fuel intensive process across borders become cheaper than buying local? A rigged system of trade deals where corporate CEOs gain all the benefits at the expense of the rest of us. For the past several decades, American politicians of both parties have done the bidding of powerful companies seeking to cross borders to exploit the lowest environmental and labor standards, offshoring good jobs in the process, and leaving hubs like Will County with overstressed infrastructure, increasing diesel pollution, and scores of temp and staffing agencies. So kind of, you know, to me, if these companies were held to higher standards of hiring directly, providing good benefits, pensions even, it would become, would that entice some people to move some manufacturing back to the United States? Could we see more made in the USA right here in Joliet and the Sierra Club? We believe in renewable energy. We believe that we can do better. I was kind of jealous when you guys were saying you got to visit IKEA. That sounds like a really cool model. So if we can raise the standards for the workers and the environment, can we have some high-tech manufacturing and raise the bar and have higher wages, family-supporting wages with pensions? The next point I wanted to make was that the last time we were here, the applicant stated, and I'm paraphrasing, I didn't write it down directly, that they hire people with a criminal background and that these people often have a hard time finding a job. And in the application, in response to one of the questions about how their business would affect the community, they said, our use will positively affect the general welfare of the community by providing desperately needed jobs to those qualified candidates that need work. And this sort of reminds me of, you know, people desperately need the jobs, but I think it's also about the quality of the jobs. I think, you know, I've talked to people at the Center for Economic Development, and it's actually difficult to find enough people to work in the warehouses, so I think the issue is the job quality, as Roberto said. And just finally, I work part-time for the Sierra Club and full-time at Plainfield High School, and a lot of our students that graduate, you know, I see them in the community, and they say, you know, what are you doing? I'm working working at a warehouse, and I just really want those students who are going to be working 40 hours a week. You know, you see the ads online that describe the jobs as moving, you know, boxes up to 50 pounds for 8, 10, 12 hours. I really want those students, if they were working for companies like Walmart, they deserve a living wage, good health care benefits, and a future, so that they can stay in Joliet and our entire community can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know some of you, I used to be here supporting warehouse workers for justice 10 years ago, and Roberto's kind of refreshed your memory on all the issues that we had then. So I'm also urging you to vote no. I'm from the Universalist Unitarian Church of Joliet, and I consider this a social justice issue. And one of the things that hasn't been addressed yet is if you're not paying a living wage, which I believe in Will County is $15.86, that means a huge proportion of your working population would qualify for benefits to assist them to raise their standard of living, which would be including the Medicaid and SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, heating vouchers, and all the other things that ultimately will come out of your pocketbooks no matter what. But they aren't going to be coming out of the pocketbooks of the people that are making the big bucks in these warehouses. So I urge you to think about that aspect of this also.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles Lovett. I'm with the Warehouse Workers for Justice, and I also have experience working in the warehouses and with these staffing agencies. Like, to me, it's like they're saying, we keep building more and more staff agencies, which is going to put less people to work still. Why not just get rid of all of them? Just keep the warehouses all at 15 an hour and just put everybody working there. That way, everything will be fine then. Don't have to worry about, okay, there's no more work for here, when everything will be at that warehouse for them, either IKEA, Amazon, or Walmart, or Home Depot, or any other warehouses. Because with that, we don't have to worry about, okay, they're trying to work this many hours just to get a certain amount for their check, which don't have nothing left. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tim Bell from the Chicago Workers Collaborative. Just want to point out and support what Charles just said. There's no reason to be paying a staffing agency overhead and extra money to bring in workers when the warehouse can pay the salaries directly to these workers. Why should there be a markup for someone to go out and recruit people to come in and do the work when the companies can do it directly? Secondly, I'd like to point out that a temporary agency is supposed to be temporary. It's not supposed to be permanent. And she mentioned, the owner, that she provides permanent jobs. Why is she a temp agency then? Temporary agencies are supposed to provide work during fluctuations, when you have a need in the Christmas season for more workers, or because some workers are sick. What we're seeing increasingly here in Illinois and in Will County is that temp agencies are taking over all the positions in the warehouses. It's no longer a temp job, it's a permanent temp job. The benefits, look at ask for the policies of the benefits. Do they really provide a vacation policy? Do they really have health insurance that people have? I strongly doubt it. In my experience, temp agencies exist in order to not pay benefits, in order not to pay sick days, in order not to pay vacations. That's one of the reasons why they exist. I urge you to vote no tonight. Thank you.
Mayor, yes. Can I ask a question just to follow up?
Yes.
You made a comment about the companies dealing directly with the individuals. If an individual now wants to work in a warehouse, they can't go online and apply for a warehouse position through that company?
Mike, who are you asking the question to?
I'm sorry, I forgot his name right here. This gentleman right here.
Yeah, can you step back up, sir? Thank you.
The warehouse can do that, but what the warehouse is doing is using the temp agency as a shield to not have to hire people directly. For example, it's okay to bring someone who has a background to work through a staffing agency in the warehouse, but then they use the excuse to hire the person directly. Well, you know what? They have a background, therefore we cannot hire them directly. But it's okay to have the person through a temp agency there. So what happens is that we create these systems that enable the temp agencies to take on all the liabilities, all the responsibilities that the employer should have. And what we believe and what the workers want, and what I think we all want, is to have stable economy. We want stable work for everybody. And going with another temp agency to the 14 that are already here in Joliet, or another 2 temp agencies is not the best thing for the community. Thank you.
So the way it's set up now, I couldn't go on their website and apply for a warehouse job directly.
You could, but if they're using a temp agency to bring in the workers in order to staff out the company through a temp agency, then you'd have to go through the temp agency. The other thing to mention about that is that the Bureau of Labor Statistics just came out with a supplemental worker survey. Did you know that a temp worker makes about 50% less than a direct hire worker doing the same work? This is the wage penalty that temp workers face. And this is another reason why these companies do not want to hire people directly if they can use a temp agency instead.
So some of these companies hire exclusively through the temp agency?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And there are some companies that will have as many as 500 temps and a direct hire staff of 100. That's why she said, the owner, that of the 147 people, only 23 are actually moved into a permanent job, because the temp agency is set up to just hire the people, pay the people.
I understand. Thank you.
I hadn't planned on speaking, but as someone who was from a labor union for 18 years, this was Council 15, someone who fought on behalf of unions to make $30 to $50 an hour, I also worked at a warehouse and helped hire people. And I can tell you that the staffing agencies, we could have 2 people side by side. One that was hired after 2 years, full-time, was making $13 an hour, and the person working next to him was making $9 an hour from the staffing agency. We would actually be paying the staffing agency like $15 per person, and that person was only getting $9 an hour, and the staffing agency was getting the rest. So they're correct. I think in the Joliet area, from when I used to work at the warehouse, and I worked there for 15 years, a good percentage of the jobs in the Joliet area from the warehouse, particularly Amazon, has done a tremendous job in providing good paying jobs, and that's due to the city council and your economic staff. That's not the problem. A lot of these staffing agencies in Joliet are sending workers out to Bolingbrook and Romeoville, and that's where the problem exists, where they're paying lower wages. As someone who worked at a warehouse, as someone who did the actual hiring, and we would keep a person 8 months, a year, get rid of them, and hire somebody else. And that's what a lot of these staffing agencies do. So I would have to agree with them on this one. I can represent my good friends who I share unionship with that make $30 to $50 an hour. I also have to stand with those who are making low wages because of these staffing agencies. I would encourage you to vote no too. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Grace Smith, and I would encourage you to vote no too, because I once worked at Sony DADC in Bolingbrook up until June the 1st, and at one time they had people working as temps for 5 years and not hiring them on, and something went down where they have to now let them go within 1 year, and God forbid they get hurt, they're instantly fired. That's a no-no, you know, trying to do their job. And then they can't work holidays. They have to work more hours to get holiday pay, because the regular workers, the permanent people, get paid for having a holiday off. But the temps, they don't, and they do the same type of work that we do. And so I'm asking you to vote, because like in Bolingbrook, they take advantage of temp agencies.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening?
Hi,
there, my name is Sonia Diodato. I'm here representing HR Metrics. We're one of the companies that are applying for the special use permit. I appreciate you being here and hearing me out. As I said during the last council meeting, I would prefer that you do not paint my company with the same brush. Understanding that some of you guys have had bad experiences, and I do apologize for that. I do apologize for that. You know, in terms of, it's unfortunate that some companies operate in that fashion. I can say to you 100% certainty that my company does not operate in that model. In terms of having folks in a warehouse environment, we have 24/7, 365-day-a-year coverage from HR Metrics staff that is responsible for overseeing, coaching, answering questions, assisting our associates with anything they need, whether it be missing hours, missing punches, questions about holidays, questions about merit pay, and those sorts of things. So that, from my perspective, is very unique, specifically with a lot of the staffing companies in this market. And again, I apologize for any of you guys or ladies that have had a bad experience. We're not here to do that. And as I stated in the last city council meeting, we are not in the business of using and abusing. And I would not be with this company for the last 9 years, or be in the industry that I have been for the last 20 years, to treat people wrongly or to put them in a compromising position. So I appreciate you hearing me out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alicia Feliciano. I'm actually an organizer right now with Warehouse Workers for Justice, but my background comes extensively from working temp jobs and warehouse jobs. I was actually one of the lucky ones, however. I would go through a temp staffing agency with a bunch of people, and I kid you not, the minute we would get to the warehouse, they'd look us up and down. I would get picked, other people that are brown or darker than me would not. So I would go into this place, you know, start working, and the first thing that would happen would be they would look you up and down, see where they were going to place you, and then go from there. If they thought you looked a certain way, they would put you in a certain role. And it's ridiculous because at the end of the day, no matter what you look like, you want to work, right? You want to get a job with decent pay and benefits. Working through Warehouse Workers for Justice, I have not only seen the wage theft issue that these temp agencies work, which I'm not sure if you guys are aware with wage theft. Basically, these workers go, they work 40, 50 hours a week, and then at the end, when they're expecting a paycheck, they only get paid for 30, 32. They're getting shorted on those hours. And the first thing that they're told is, oh, well, you didn't sign in, so we don't know if you work there. They don't have any specific actual record of when people sign in and if they're actually working. And unfortunately, a lot of these individuals don't know how to fight to get their wages back. So the first thing they do is they just give up and keep working. And they get shorted again and again. And it's a never-ending cycle. And if they do pressure these temp agencies to give them that pay, the first thing that happens is they'll get fired. And DNR, which means do not return. A lot of these agencies, they operate under one owner, and then they purchase another facility under the same owner with a different name. So if you get DNR from temp agency A, well, guess what? That same owner is going to tell temp agency B that you're going to apply to, that a lot of us, you know, regular folk don't know who the owner is. There's also, like I said, a lot of discrimination, a lot of sexual harassment. Any of those claims that you would want to feel comfortable talking to a manager about to get resolved, the first time you do any notion of it goes to HR or anything like that, you do get fired, and you risk getting fired. I do urge you guys to vote no. If we really need better community jobs here, better pay, better benefits, and an actual caring to the community. These are our jobs. These are, you know, our people are going here. We want that wealth to be spread, and unfortunately, going through a temp staffing agency is not going to help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Hello, I'm Suzanne Guevara. I'm chair of the Will County Progressives. I've talked to a couple of you on the council today, and I'm here to urge you to vote no. If you don't see that it's a triangulation between the warehouses and the staffing agencies and possibly some social service agencies that send people back and forth and around, then there's probably something wrong with your information, because that is exactly what's happening. We deserve better paying jobs. We deserve sustainable jobs. what's happening here is you go through a temp agency, you go to the warehouse, 90 days, a year, whatever the period is that they're about to hire you, they find a reason to fire you, or they let you go and say they don't need you. You go to the next temp agency the next day and get it the exact same job. So the other thing I want to talk about is decorum, because from about right here all the way down, I see a lot of dirty looks. We pay every single one of you to listen to our complaints and our concerns. My own councilman listened to me, and he was very busy today. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, and I hope you will vote no. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on an agenda item? Next is council committee reports. Public Service Committee.
Yes, Your Honor, Public Service met this afternoon in the conference room where we reviewed all of the contracts, change orders, pay estimates, and we found everything to be in order and made a full recommendation to the full council for approval.
I show no other reports. Moving on to consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on October 15th and the minutes of the council meeting held on October 16, 2018 stand approved as recorded. And Council Memo 558-18 position vacancies. It is recommended the city manager be authorized to fill one accountant position in the finance department and any resulting subsequent vacancies. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 560-18, an application for a drive-through permit for a Hardee's restaurant at 1501 New Lenox Road. It's recommended a drive-through permit be approved for a Hardee's restaurant at 1501 New Lenox Road, subject to the approval of the final engineering plans.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
No.
Councilman Mudrin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Just a quick question here. Kendall, did we get that issue resolved that we talked about this afternoon about the ingress and egress?
Yes. If you look in your
I couldn't find it. As I said, when I looked at it, it wasn't there.
there is a diagram that shows the full access into what would be the passenger vehicle portion of the truck stop. There's a car canopy. There's the Love's building itself with the Hardee's and what would be the drive-through. That area has a barrier curb that separates it from the truck area. The truck area only has right in, left out access. So trucks would not, and there's also signage directing the trucks where to go.
Okay. All right, we're clear on that then. Thank you. Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye. When did I vote? I voted.
Motion carried. 6-1. Next, under public hearings, Council Memo 562-18, ordinances and resolution associated with Corridor 80 subdivision. It's recommended this item be tabled to the December 4th council meeting.
Motion to table.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 562-18 to the December 4th council meeting. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances and resolutions, Council Memo 564-18, an ordinance approving or a resolution denying a variation of use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit at 117-119 Southeastern Avenue. Staff is recommending adopting an ordinance approving the variation of use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit at 117-119 Southeastern Avenue.
Mayor?
Yes.
would like to make a motion to deny this because of past histories with Ms. Beavers. If you read the council memo, she clearly knows she owns property at 7-9 Cadwin. And she was here a couple years back for the same thing, bought a 2-unit, but was single family, so she came here for a variance of use, that's claiming it was a 2-unit when she purchased it, and she wanted to put veterans in there. Well, it has been a problem. I have some calls for service here, domestic violence, crisis intervention, out-of-state warrants for arrest, and deceptive practices. Now, she clearly knows from this point that when she was rehabbing that Cadwin home that you need permits, but yet she continues to go forward and do things without a building permit. So when she went for the hearing, the hearing officer fined her $150 in favor of the city. Now, I know Kendall and I talked about this earlier, and we do have a history here of trying to help her. So Kendall, would you like to elaborate on that, please?
Sure. Mayor and members of the council, I have had the occasion to speak with the Beavers in the past on these types of cases. I have implored them to work with me directly if there's an issue with staff in terms of getting the information up front about zoning. Oftentimes, if you're looking at our zoning map, you'll see zoning, but that may not be the ground truth. So in other words, there may be something that has single-family zoning, but there's a 2-unit. In order to continue, you've got to go through this process. And I have tried to counsel them as well as others that the best thing to do is to ask staff before they purchase a property that may present an issue. And in this matter, we have a down-zoned property that was actually zoned for multifamily at one point, and the city down-zoned it to single-family. This is a case where we could have perhaps headed off some issues with their understanding of the zoning. And I think that's the gist of our discussion earlier.
Right. So in other words, we tried to help her in the past, and once again, here we are again with the same issue. And the property prior to, it just shows her history that her properties are problems. So that's all I have to say, but I made a motion to deny.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to adopt a resolution denying a variation of use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit at 117 and 119 Southeastern Avenue. So if you vote aye, you're in favor of denying the special use. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
No.
Motion carried 5-2. The variation of use was denied. Council Memo 565-18, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a staffing company in a vacant commercial tenant space located at 232 South Larkin Avenue. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Is there a second? No second, the motion dies. Is there a motion to deny the special use permit?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to deny a special use permit to allow a staffing company in a vacant commercial tenant space located at 232 South Larkin Avenue. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Motion carried 6-1. The special use permit was denied. Council Memo 566-18, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a staffing and recruitment office within an existing tenant space located at 423 Collins Street. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Motion on the table to approve a special use permit to allow a staffing and recruitment office at 423 Collins Street. Is there a second? Seeing none, the motion dies. Is there a motion to deny the special use permit to allow a staffing and recruitment office located at 423 Collins Street?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to deny a special use permit to allow a staffing and recruitment office within an existing tenant space located at 423 Collins Street. Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carried. 6-1. The special use permit was denied. Council Memo 567-18, an ordinance amending the 2018 annual budget for the city of Joliet, an award of contract for the Fire Station Number 6 door opening modification. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
The motion seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 568-18 is an ordinance amending the 2018 annual budget for the city of Joliet, an award of contract for the salt storage dome replacement roadways facility. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve.
Mayor?
Councilwoman Gavin?
Yes. Just so council is aware, we actually thought that the bid would come in much higher than it actually did, even though it was only one, but it actually came in substantially less than the estimate, so I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 570-18, a resolution authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement with Joliet Township for the resurfacing of Sterling Avenue and Jackson Street. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 571-18, supplemental resolution appropriating funds for the 2018 pavement marking program. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 572-18, a resolution declaring certain City of Joliet property as surplus, 2008 StarCraft. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
At the community meeting, I thought it was a Chris Craft. I put a bid on it. Aye.
I thought I was going to use it for our hippie wagon.
Really? Yeah.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under award of contracts, Council Memo 573-18, approve a professional services agreement for hiring entry-level police officers. Council Memo 574-18 was removed. Council Memo 575-18, purchase a replacement pump for the Route 66 pump station. Council Memo 576-18, award a contract for the 12D water tower reconditioning project. Council Memo 577-18, purchase water metering equipment. Council Memo 578-18, approve the 2018-2019 rock salt purchase contract. Council Memo 579-18, award contracts for the purchase of motor fuels 2019. Council Memo 580-18 was removed. It's recommended Council Memos 573-18 and 575-18 through 579-18 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Mayor, I also have one question on Council Memo, what is it, number 579. How come we didn't take the low bid on the grade 2 diesel? I know it's not a big difference, but it's a little bit less.
On the grade 2.
Or am I looking at it wrong?
No, I think you're looking at it right.
Mike, that was actually handled by our purchasing agent, and I don't have the answer right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you guys want, I guess we could remove it and come back. I don't have the answer to that one.
All right.
I didn't realize that was the case.
I just know it now. Okay.
Or is it because if you look at page 2, it's diesel combined. I don't know if you can buy grade 1 diesel from one.
I don't know. That's what I thought maybe it would say, but it didn't say.
Obviously, that diesel 1 is substantially lower for Mansfield oil than the petroleum traders diesel 1 grade.
Marty, you want to remove that item tonight?
Yes, let's
Okay.
pull this one.
Okay.
Main position.
Get you that question.
With the exception of that one, what
Okay, so we had a motion and second, and we had a vote taken on that, so we would need to
Withdraw the motion?
withdraw the motion.
Who made the motion?
Did I make the motion? I believe I did. Didn't I?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Just for clarification, just for my own clarity before I do this, I believe that Meg, Jim, help me if I missed this, but when it came through committee, there was the grade 2 diesel coming out of Mansfield. Was that better by if you bought grade 1 and then grade 2 as a package? Was that?
If you bought them both.
We're trying to get an answer right now.
We got a better deal.
Is that why? Maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's.
Good
that's
evening,
what I'm
Mayor
saying.
and Council. I have the purchasing agent on the phone right now. She was unable to be here. The diesel 1 and diesel 2 have to be purchased from the same vendor.
Okay.
So the combined prices, you would get the low price picking the one vendor.
Yes, and that was the reason. Yes.
Okay. So we'll continue with the vote with it included. So the vote is to approve Council Memos 573-18, 575-18 through 579-18. So Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under amendments, change orders, and payments, revised Council Memo 582-18, approved change order number 2 for the 2018 roadways resurfacing contract A. Council Memo 583-18, approved change order number 1 and payment request number 2 and final for the 2018 Hickory Spring Creek cleaning project. Council Memo 584-18, approved change order number 4 for the combined sewer overflow long-term control plan Phase 3 wet water treatment facility project. Council Memo 585-18, approved change order number 3 and payment request number 3 and final for the 2018 sidewalk curb replacement project. Council Memo 586-18, approve amendment number 1 to the professional services contract for the design, permitting, drafting for the Hobolt Road, Mound Road to U.S. Route 6 water main project. Council Memo 587-18, approve change order number 1 and payment request number 3 and final for the 2018 pavement marking program. Council Memo 588-18, approve amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement for the 2019 sewer rehabilitation program design project. Council Memo 589-18, approve change order number 1 to the Microsoft annual license contract. And Council Memo 590-18, approve change order number 1 to the telecommunications vendor contract with Vonage. It's recommended Council Memos 582-18 through 590-18 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
And motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
I don't know if it matters. Didn't Councilman Turk go first on the vote right before that?
No, Councilwoman Coleman went
No,
first.
he
but
stopped it.
Stopped it.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
I do have a few things to say today. There are a lot of interesting and fun events occurring in Joliet. I attended the Joliet Junior College Fall Harvest Fest Feast this past week held at the Joliet downtown campus. There were 5 floors of food choices prepared by the students. I was woefully unprepared, and it was impossible to try everything, and I was completely shocked at the talent of our JJC culinary arts students. By the time I arrived at the dessert floor, I was already pushing the limit on the amount of food I could ingest. There were only maybe 150 choices of dessert, so that's the picture. But in the picture, there's a cake, and it was made by student Nina DeBoer. So if you want to go to that next picture, there's a close-up of it. So she earned, Nina DeBoer, one of the students, a gold medal first place at a prestigious event in Chicago last weekend for the love of chocolate. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So
That's all chocolate?
yes, chocolate candy. Okay, so that's the good news.
It's only a picture, Betty.
The 2019 budget will be ready for you at the November 19th, 20th City Council meeting. We can set up budget meetings the following week if you want. If you do not have a special meeting, just a reminder that the 2019 budget must be passed by December 18th council meeting. And then City Hall is closed tomorrow. Don't forget to vote. That's all I have.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
Just one thing, and just a reminder also to please, let's get out and vote tomorrow. And I would be remiss, Mayor, if I didn't, I omitted the names of my committee members that were at public service, and we had Councilman Hope, who's chair, and Councilman Dickinson, also committee members. So I apologize, you guys.
It's all good.
Thank you.
Marty, did we get something scheduled to take care of the flags that we discussed a couple days ago?
You know what, I haven't heard back from the fire department, but they have been reached out to take care of that. Not only check the one flag, but all the flags.
Okay.
Nothing.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
I just want to say that I was almost taken back earlier, the comment that was made. In 1976, I started as a 16-year-old coming to the Joliet City Council. We had a special project by Richard Reinhardt, who was a teacher at Joliet West High School. And that was for the Extension of United Street. We worked with Councilman Pastori, Councilman Hacker, and Councilman Shatina. And we were all young kids, and we worked with them, and we got the extension through, which you see today. Then I went on to have the opportunity throughout the years to work with various city councils, and we had some real wars in the 90s, but things were under control. And I just want to say that the comment made earlier that there were smug looks by any of the city councilmen is ridiculous. You all looked, very professional, and you have treated everyone here that is coming before this council with dignity and respect, and I want to thank you for that. And as somebody who has stood up for those who have been less fortunate my entire life, I would have spoken out much sooner. And Mike Turk, as you well know, I have never, ever made a comment like that before the city council on many issues where this room was jam-packed. So I just want to say that I think you guys are doing a tremendous job. There's been more diversity. Mayor Bob Odeker has made some fine appointments from the minority committee with women, particularly with women. And I think all the members of the city council, even the ones that I don't agree with all the time, you made a big effort to, no, I actually agree with Councilman Morris a lot. And Councilman Morris, you've done a great job. But all I want to say is that, you know, even the ones I've not always agreed with, you've always shown respect to everyone who's come before the city council, regardless of who or she may be, or whether they even reside in our city. You've given them that. And so I just want to say, I appreciate that as a citizen of the city, as a lifelong member, citizen of the city. Thank you. And remember, like Councilwoman Gavin said, get out and vote tomorrow, Joliet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Wayne Horn, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Tonight I'm here for a private citizen, primarily as a veteran. And I know that when I brought the attention about the flags to Councilman Hug and contacted the city manager, and I wanted to make sure that those flags were in proper order and condition prior to Veterans Day, which is a week from, next Sunday, this coming Sunday. And I remember, just as a reminder, I don't believe city manager, current city manager, acting city manager was on board at the time this was done. But it's been about 1.5 years since we finally got the lights on the flags, which I appreciate the council doing and getting that done after many years. But it's been about 1.5 years. And at the time that was done, Councilman Hug brought up the idea that we should have flags already. And that what has occurred with a couple of the flags, particularly at six corners, shouldn't happen. So I trust that we'll get that taken care of. Now, having chastised you, I'd like to invite the city council and the public to the Veterans Day ceremony that will be held at the courthouse at 10 o'clock this next Sunday on Veterans Day. It's being sponsored this year by the Veterans Assistance Commission of Will County, which I'm a past chairman. And the keynote speaker will be a Sergeant First Class retired John Collett. He is a U.S. Army Ranger and survivor of Black Hawk Down. So I think it's a good opportunity to be at a veterans event. I know there are many others, but this has been a premier event for a long time in Will County, in Joliet. I'd like to see everybody there. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Next is mayor and council comments.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago I got asked to go on a ride with Pink Heels, and you know, we went to a couple of people's houses where they're battling cancer and stuff, and I was fortunate enough to be at this house where Logan, this 10-year-old kid, is, and he's battling brain cancer. So if you could, if you could just say a prayer for him. Tomorrow he's got a big surgery. Thanks.
Good guy. Wow. I too am in prayer for this young kid that is going through it, and I love to just congratulate Councilman Dickinson on his passion and outreach to that family. And it has been a really, really touching one for him, and I know it has been. And so we wish him the best. And please, just let's lift this family up in prayer.
Marty, can we get this, is it on the website already? The Veterans Day. Can we get it on the city website so people can be aware of it? And go out and vote. You know, no matter who you vote for, go vote. Okay, I got a short list. Number one, October 20th, I was I think the entire city council was at Noah Park for the ribbon cutting. I want to thank and congratulate the Park District. I gave a short speech that day, and I said the elected officials there deserve credit because they kept their word. Promises were made to this community, and I thank the Park District for seeing that through. October 23rd, I took a tour with Steve Jones. We were invited to see the Barber Building and get an update on the project. Steve, if I remember right, they're hoping to be online by the end of the year. Is that correct?
Some of the units will be ready. They expect that it'll be probably spring, March or so, when major marketing is underway. There are 4 units already occupied on the far north end of the building, but everything else is underway.
It is, and they're doing a great job. It's a historic building, and they're taking their time with the rehab. So I was very impressed with what we saw in that tour. October 26th, Greentown, Will County had an event down here in downtown Joliet at the Renaissance Center. Thank you to Will County Executive Larry Walsh, the Executive's Office, and the Will County Board for helping put that on. It was a really good event, well attended. It was good to see in Joliet. October 27th, again, I think most of the council was there. The building trades had a ceremony at Contiguous Post where they dedicated the labor and the material for a new roof for the VFW hall. So thank you, Will County Building Trades. Last week, October 30th, the African American Business Association had their first annual dinner. It was a great event. Again, thank you to all the members of the African American Business Association that came together to put them online, to make them viable. And thanks to our Joliet Chamber of Commerce for all the assistance that they gave them in this last year. November 1st, Project Acclaim had their annual Honors and Recognition Gala. It was, again, well attended. And I wasn't at the city council meeting where we gave those awards, but I do want to thank all the people of Joliet who pride in their property and the award winners, and thanks again to John Zelenka and Project Acclaim for all the work they're doing. Last Friday, and again, I think most of the city council was there, if not all, the Joliet Jewish Congregation Synagogue had a Solidarity Sabbath event. Marty, I want to compliment you. You also were there as city manager. I think it was great to see the city manager joining the elected officials at these events. Thank you for coming. It was a wonderful event. We're hoping to have Rabbi come in front of the council soon, but a very nice event on Friday. And thank you to all the council members and members of the community who came to show their support for our Jewish community here in Joliet. And then finally, on Saturday, there was a street naming for Margaret Graves. Jan, I know you were there with Terry. Margaret was a civil rights pioneer in Joliet. Her family was there. They had a very nice show. It was kind of a blustery day, but thank you for coming out. And thanks to staff for getting that done. So that's all I have. I believe we have an executive session tonight.
And
yes,
the city manager interim was also there with both of his children for that sign dedication. Just add that.
Yes, he was.
He's everywhere.
He's leading from the front. Good job, Marty.
Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance pending this written litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second. Motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson. Aye. Councilwoman Gavin. Aye. Councilman Hugg. Aye. Councilman Morris. Aye. Councilman Mudrin. Aye. Councilwoman Coleman. Aye. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried.